Hey everybody, thanks for joining me again. This is Mike. This is another request from the Geek Life. This one is Motörhead, Just Cause You Got the Power, in Stage Fright. So the Geek Life, David says, you can buy up half of the nation, but you can't buy class. Man, there's nothing better said than that phrase right there. We have a saying here that you can take the boy out of the trailer park, but you can't take the trailer park out of the boy sometimes. So sometimes, you know, in other words, they can make millions of dollars, but they're still their mentality is still trailer park boy. And I've known a bunch of good ones too. But let's get into the intro and right into the video, y'all. Here we go.
Okay, now you have the fast one, now you get the slow one, all right? This is another one of ours. It was a B-side. It's almost a C-side, but it's a B-side. And it's a slow, beautiful, sensitive song about fat bastard businessmen who are stealing your money right now. Okay? So cheer up, you know what I mean? It's called Just Because You Got the Power. That don't mean you got the right.
You make my head elimination.
right, man, I got to pause it. Motörhead, bitching. So while that was playing, and especially during the solo part here, I was reading up on. I knew he had passed away, Lenny here, the lead singer, and so they started this in 1975. But I wanted to read up a little bit more about his passing. So in 2015, so this guy was a 2-pack a day smoker since the age of 11, and smoked all the way up until he passed away. He was only 70 years old. So I'm 66, and I just can't imagine. Because here's the deal, man. I know I'm talking in circles here, but so I smoked. Too, when I was 15 years old, and I smoked up to like 24 or 25, but I could see, I mean, that was normal back in the 70s, and I could see what it was doing to the people that were older, and back then people in their 50s were freaking ancient, and that was because of the cigarettes, and I didn't want to be like that, so was overseas, and if y'all remember the Libyan line of death operations, where the United States bombed Benghazi and Tripoli because of Gaddafi had bombed a disco. I can't remember where now, but anyway, they sent us over to handle up on Libya. That was in 1986. But while we were operating there, we had to go radio silent. So in other words, we weren't getting any kind of supplies. The United States didn't want anybody to know where we were at that time. So one of the ways to do that was to go radio silent. So there wouldn't be any way of tracking us through the radio. There wasn't any cell phones back then. So we went radio silent, and by not getting supplies, all of us smokers were out of cigarettes, and that's when I made the final decision. Look, this is not good for your health. I know I'm young now, but I really couldn't see into my 60s to being 66, to tell you the truth. But I knew that I'm not gonna put an addiction to where that's all I'm thinking about, not being able to get to that because we were out in the middle of nowhere. I'm just gonna quit. And that's what I did. That was a big story to tell you, that I quit when I was 25. I don't even know. Anyway, but so I look at these guys and I think, man, cigarettes are going to kill you. You don't know when, but for a fact, 100% of the times, if you smoke all your life, they're going to kill you. And probably by the time you get to your 50s, that damage is done. Your race is run. You could lay down your cigarette then. You're still going to die of emphysema or COPD, whatever they call it these days, whatever the buzzword is. And apparently that's what was one of the things that led up to Lenny's death. But the main cause was he had prostate cancer. And he died 2 days after getting that prognosis that he had terminal cancer. There's a big write-up on it in Wikipedia that will say it more eloquently than I can. But listen, y'all, I'm no preacher. You're grown people. You get to do what you want to do. And I have no say-so for it. And I don't fault you for whatever decision you make. But just think about living with an oxygen tube when you're my age, 66. I can still chase my granddaughter, although it's slow. But that's not because of my lungs. It's because of my knees. I got to get those replaced, and I'm putting it off because I got other things going on right now. But so, yeah, it was a sad thing. So let's get back to Motörhead here. If y'all even remember, that's what we were listening to, because I went on this whole freaking ramble for no apparent reason. Yeah, man. So Lenny would be 80 years old if he was alive today. It's hard to believe. Also, part of that Wikipedia said that Lenny was reported to have slept with 2,000 different women in his 70 years. So I guess, I don't know when you started, but man, he lived that sex, drugs, and rock and roll motto to the fullest. And he may have had no regrets, but it did say that he was walking with a cane, the last few years of his life. That is a hard life, but he probably wouldn't have done anything different had he had a crystal ball to see what the end of his life was going to be. In fact, he could have just he may have just increased everything he was doing and went to more extreme. Anyway, yeah, just because you have the power doesn't mean you have the right. That's that song and that especially that music. I like that hard, heavy metal sound. Not for everything, but it is 5:40 here in the morning, and I've been up since 3. So I'm a morning person, man. I like hard rock music like that. I can get my exercise in, and then come in here and do this for a while, and have everything done by 6:30 in the morning, and then I can go off and do my normal day. I couldn't do that if I was doing, drugs and smoking, In fact, I might not be here at this age. I might, like I said, my race would have been run 20 years ago, and I would have if I was here, I would just be suffering. But for the grace of God. All right, y'all. Thank you to the Geek Live for the request, and thanks everybody else for showing up. Till I see you again, I'll catch y'all down the road. Bye, y'all.